the Xavi news just it almost felt more inevitable to me. What was your reaction, Nico?
Xavi says that he's leaving at the end of the season. He needs to get to the end of the season first.
Yeah.
There was nothing that indicated that he was going to survive the end of the season unscathed. There were moments you could feel that there was tension, that there were things and decisions not going the right way for Xavi, for the players. And Barcelona is a hot mess. So my question is, to Joan Laporta, I wonder, when was the final straw going to be? It could have well have been before the end of the season, and it still might be before the end of the season. Thank God they're facing Napoli, which probably doesn't have too many answers in their own right now in a Champions League matchup. They could have gotten anybody else, and I think it would have been much more of a difficult challenge. So I just wonder if he still will make it to the end of the season. It sounds like he wanted to go out on his own terms. He wanted to anticipate that. But still, I think much has to be said about this Barcelona team under Xavi.
This couldn't have been easy for him. I mean, especially the same week Jurgen Klopp comes out and says he's leaving at the end of the season. You see this outpouring of emotion, and then he says it, and everyone's like, good. You know, it's like it's exact reaction. It's the exact opposite reaction, I should say. It must be tough, especially for him to say, like, this isn't the standard that I want, and I'm a culé, I'm a fan. You know, and this isn't the standard I want for this club. So that's got to be difficult for someone like him to make this decision. But like you said, I think we've all kind of seen it coming. Plus, there was so much smoke. Now you look back, you're like,
but hold up. This is the strange part of it all. You saw it coming, right? You say you saw it coming.
Yeah, we had Guillem on here say he wasn't going to be there.
When you said you saw
season.
it coming, that's because we thought that he was going to get sacked.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, this shows that
he jumps the gun to it. He wants to be the one that says, no, I'm leaving before you fire me. That's what it feels like to me.
I would change the narrative too if I was him. And it seems to me that there's some sort of agreement.
Yeah.
Because
that's how I took it.
If Guillem is coming out and saying he's not coming back next season already before this even happens, Copa del Rey happens, and then this loss, you felt that it's in the best interest for all parties to say, put it out there and say, I'm not going to be back after this. And let it be the narrative of, I'm not doing the job that I was hoping for, or it's not good enough for Barca, and I'm gonna leave and let someone else come in.
If he gets waxed in the Champions League against Napoli, let's just say he does.
They don't have the money. The only option.
That's good enough for fire. That's a big enough excuse to get fired.
But not now.
But I think it also takes the pressure off of him and off of Barca because he's sacked. So the only thing I see happening, if they do get waxed and things keep going sour, is that they just relieve him of his duties and Rafa Marquez comes up because he's already employed by the club. He's with Barca too. So if that happens, fine. But they're not going to axe him and then bring in some manager outside of.
Also, why, if you're Joan Laporta, why embarrass a legend?
Right,
played 524 matches for the club. And scored so many goals. Legend at the club. This isn't the kind of guy you want to sack, unsacrimoniously. Give him a chance to walk out on his own so he can come back to the stadium, come back and have the rapport with the fan base that I think he deserves.
And I think Joan Laporta is using Xavi almost as a shield a little bit to protect himself. Because if he does sack Xavi, then the responsibility falls on Joan Laporta. Right now, a lot of blame can be placed on Xavi with how poor this team is. And there's a lot of disconnect between him and the board and Deco and whatnot. Nonetheless, he is the face of this bad moment that Barca is living, right? That they're experiencing. And Laporta, I think, can distance himself a little bit from that. But if he sacks Xavi, then the fingers point at him.
No, I think it's always pointing at him too. He's not fooling anyone.
Yeah, but right now, Xavi's the fall guy. Xavi can be the fall guy right now. And then another thing that I think is very telling is that the players didn't know that he was going to resign. I think if you are in harmony with your dressing room, if you have control, if you have the respect of your dressing room, and you want to resign, you tell the players first. Right? For example, I think, maybe the players didn't know all the way back in November that Klopp was leaving.
It doesn't seem like it, but he held a meeting with them
before the announcement
came out.
Xavi called this press conference immediately, and some players found out either listening to the radio or watching TV and whatnot. And it seems like that is very telling of the situation between the relationship that Xavi has with the board, with the sporting directors, with his players.
Well, there was reports too that he had lost the locker room. So when something like this happens and then he makes this announcement, Charlie, how do you expect the players to respond?
Well, I think when you look at this match in particular, when they lose to Villarreal, they go up 2-0, they concede 3, they get back into the game, they had some chances, and they lose 5-3. To me, that showed that the locker room was broken because they didn't have the backbone. Because they had the lead, they gave it up, they fought back, but then they crumbled. And to me, you come back into the locker room if you're the manager and go, it's broken. It's the hope, the whole culture right now is not the Barca way. I'm ready to resign.
Do you foresee them finishing top 4 in La Liga this season?
No. Because Real Madrid in Girona locks top 2, locks. I think
Atletico Madrid is on the rise.
Yep.
I would, if we're talking about locks, I think there soon be a good possibility to finish there, and then there's that 4th place spot. Who is it? Real Sociedad, Athletic Club. Athletic, let me see the table.
It's Athletic Club 42.
Wow, imagine if Athletic makes Champions League. That would be very fun to watch next season.
The next few matches Athletic Club has is Mallorca, got Atletico Madrid in Copa del Rey, Almeria, and then they go to Girona.
Wow.
Oh, then Girona, goes to Bilbao. That's going to be a little bit of a run.
Very good on the road.
Exactly who they are.
Wow.
Especially that match against Girona is going to be big.